Morning. This is William Steele with William Steele True Crime and Steele Spotlight Television. Still in sunny South Florida, and I'm bringing you my co-host Ignacio Esteban here in a second. Quick update. We're here for the Silent Partners premiere. That went pretty well on Friday. Big turnout, a lot of connections, networking made in a beautiful theater, the Wick Costume Museum and Theater. Turns out the proprietor, Marilyn, and I know many of the same people. And so we are going to be promoting her extensively because there's other things and other connections that you'll hear more about going forward. So let me bring on Ignacio and we'll get into this show here and we'll tell you some more about this premiere and my book signing event. So Ignacio,
what's up? What's going on, man?
All right.
Doing good.
Yeah, just been running ragged over here, just going to different events and all that. We had the Silent Partners
the pictures from Facebook and everything else. I should check it out. But check out the Facebook pictures, cool videos and stuff, and it's interesting stuff. So it went well. Anything exciting you want to talk about?
Yeah, there was, there's an incident that I just briefly mentioned to people. And again, it was not a problem with Ciro. People are trying to inquire, did Ciro put his hands on you? And Ciro called me up. People are misunderstanding what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an individual who, in my opinion, wasn't in his right mind that night, was acting very, very aggressive and inappropriate. And I had relied on him to get back to me for something. And I was up against the deadline for a venue for my own event. I just wanted an answer, like yes or no. But instead, I got these very, very aggressive, I don't know what you think I can do. And I never promised you anything. I never said you promised me anything. I had asked you, can you help me get a venue? And that's it. Let me know. And he said, hey, I might be able to do this. Let me see what I can do. But then you didn't get back to me. And then so my reminders maybe became a little more frequent, irritated him. And, and his replies to me got nastier and nastier. And I'm like, what the heck is wrong with this dude? He's supposed to be my friend. Anyway, go to the event, and at the tail end, the event, he's circling us. He's completely disrespecting, myself and Mary, who had never met him and did a ton of work for this guy, was promised a dinner from him. And he's very prominent in this crowd and claims that he, protects people from bullies and all this stuff.
All right.
And so, he comes up to me finally. He's like, can we talk now? And I'm like, all right, what's up? I don't drink. I'm fine. He's definitely something going on with him.
He's had a few.
I don't know, maybe, but he was very aggressive and gets right in my face. And I'm looking around. There's people watching. I'm like, dude, there's people watching you. What are you getting so aggressive for? I don't give a crap. I should crack you. I should this and that. Nobody's ever talked to me the way you do.
You want to crack you?
I said I was persistent because I was up against the deadline of the 25th. All I wanted was a response from you. That's it. You just concisely say, no, I can't do this. Instead, he had conditions about how I'm supposed to write him and what time of day and this and that, but not just conditions, but very aggressive and demanding. Like his schedule is more important than anybody else's schedule.
Right.
And so I don't know if he doesn't handle pressure well, but I do. I handle it very well. I'm very, very.
You need to in life. Yeah.
I try to be persistent but polite. He tries to be, pressure tactic and his way or the highway or
some people blow up, intimidate people, and try to say shut you down.
So when he's getting more aggressive, I just kept backing up and I said, look, am I talking to my friend, the Christian guy that I've come to know, or am I talking to the thug that you used to be? And he reached out and strangled me so hard. And he cut my neck open.
Did he grab you with one or two hands?
I just remember one reaching out real quick, just like that, shake me. And I said, dude, what are you doing, man? There's people watching. I'm not going to sit here and fight you. What's wrong with you? I don't give a damn. You know who I am. I'll do this, that, and the other thing. And he says, I didn't put my hands on you. I said, you just strangled me and my throat hurts.
And you had it around your neck and you had video too, right?
There's people with video that saw this thing going on that sent me the video. And I just, I got to the house, and I realized my neck was hurting pretty good. And I looked, and
He squeezed. Yeah, you can do some damage. You can kill someone very easily.
Killed me pretty quick. But anyway, there was a cut on my neck. But he was saying, I just pushed your shoulder, and I'm like, whatever, man. I'm not going to sit here and fight you, and you can threaten me all you want, But he hasn't even bothered to apologize. There's people telling me to press charges and all that stuff.
Well, you do have options. Not just press charges. You also do a civil lawsuit also, and sue them civilly, and also get some money from that also. So you have different options to look at different angles. But that kind of conduct for someone who's allegedly involved in that industry is unacceptable.
Yeah, a couple of people that looked into it. Evidently, he's got a history of doing this kind of thing, and so he
blows up easy. Yeah, you don't want people who are not
image and then putting his hands on people at somebody else's public venue where it's important for everybody to be on their best behavior.
Yeah, if you can't behave well in public, imagine in at home or
and I wasn't, for the record, I wasn't trying to be a jerk with this guy. I was just being myself. He was Mary was looking forward to meeting him for the first time. She had done a ton of work for him, like extra editing, like, hey, if you do all this extra stuff for me and then my friend and this guy and that guy, I'll buy you guys dinner. So she was just looking forward to saying hello and getting the picture. He was talking to this person, this woman, and that woman, and like had no time for us the whole night with like a big chip on his shoulder. Nobody talks to me the way you do. And I'm like, I've been nothing but polite to you. Yes, I was persistent, but I've been nothing but polite to you.
If you say you can do something, and wasn't he on your show and everything?
For the record, he didn't promise to do it. But he said he'd look into it and let me know. And then he never got back to me. He did eventually saying, hey, I can't do this. I don't know anything. I'm doing,
I'm busy. I'm too busy. I have a big schedule. I'm too busy.
Yeah, he's too much of a big shot to, to
help the little
guy. So don't push stuff out there about what a changed person.
You can do all that, but it's not right. Like we teach our kids in school, keep your hands to yourself, right, Bill? Yeah. Keep your hands to yourself. That's a lesson learned, is you don't touch people, because you know what? When you're an adult, big boys, there's big consequences.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to handle it like, my new life, trying to be, more patient with people, more forgiving. But considering all the things he professes to be these days, he should have reached out with a phone call by now. Say, hey, man, I'm sorry. I was drunk, or I was angry, or I was under stress.
Or I don't know. He believes the lies that he says, and that he just tapped you in the shoulder, right?
Well, we have evidence to the contrary. So
yeah, and you got video now that can help you. So that's important. It's always better to verify. Say, hey, I got video, in case you decide to go down a certain path. You can verify everything you've said, which is important. As you and I know.
I don't want to belabor it, but I do want to clarify, because Ciro had heard about the incident from other people that witnessed it, and I guess everybody was afraid to name this guy because he's super intimidating, and he does have a history. And we've obviously done a deep dive at this point and find out there is a history. So he's somebody I considered a friend, and I just it's very disappointing. I'll tell you that much. So. Anyway, it wasn't Ciro, for the record, everybody. Ciro and I are fine. We cross-promote each other. I'm going to be in another one of his movies here. We're going to be filming in a few weeks. So, it's all good. It's not Ciro. It's not Lou Silver's a wonderful human being. I'm pleased to meet him. He's an actor in some of these movies. Lou, you're great. And the reason I'm mentioning him is to give him a shout-out. What a great actor. He had a great scene in there.
Oh, did he? Good.
And I met a distant relative of his, Kevin Wilson. He's another actor in there that had like a background role where something happens to him, and so Kevin and I have become good friends, and he stuck around and he went to my event. My event was on Saturday.
That's right, you had another event. I heard a lot of leftovers, right, Bill?
Last Sunday. So between the short notice, because I lost my big venue, I had a really big venue in Central Boca, right. And a manager accidentally gave it to a furniture store for a different event, and the general manager said, no, that was supposed to go to him for his event, and he has all these people coming. Right, Central Boca, and so
where'd you have the event again, Bill? Where'd you do it?
Larry Maz's Capone Speakeasy up
Capone Speakeasy
Street. Right. It's a Prohibition era place upstairs. It's small, but in the end, because it was a change of venue with only just a few days notice, I couldn't put out a lot of timely advertising, and it was a small turnout.
Small turnout. All right. Well,
unfortunately,
but Louis B came out, right? You got Louis B.
Louis B is a stand-up man of his word. He came out. He stayed an extra day with his wife.
That's good. That's good.
Will Crooks came out for the Silent Partners event. William
Crooks came out. Yep. Yeah. I've done shows with Bill Crooks also. Shout out to Bill for sure.
Nick Christopher showed up and stayed an extra day.
That's good. That's good.
So these guys have shown me their true colors. They're good stand-up guys. I'm sure if you didn't have you have children and all that.
My life is extremely busy with my daughters. I keep me busy, but
you've always
watched the Bill, and I think it's also good in the future for a venue to make sure that they cater with the food in house and drinks in house, right?
Yeah. That was another thing that I didn't realize till it was kind of too late to even look for another venue. They had to bring in catered food. Therefore, if there was a low turnout, I was on the hook for the food.
Oh my goodness!
I took care of that. I knocked that bill off right away. But I am scheduled to be in 2 or 3 more events here in the next few weeks.
I did notice the big meatballs were pretty big, Bill. They were pretty big meatballs they had there.
Yeah, maybe I'll edit in the trays. If you imagine.
Oh yeah, put them in there. Yeah, for sure.
Imagine
that's a lot of food.
Your stove in your house, the full stove top. These pans of food, baked ziti, several trays.
Bill, you're set for the next month. You're there. You're set for a while, Bill.
I could actually probably grab one out of the fridge.
Yeah, grab it right now and show everybody.
Well, let's just say I'm sitting here in my boxer, so I don't.
Oh yeah, you don't want to do that.
In South Florida, it's hot. I'm just,
you think it's hot? You know how hot it is in Virginia right now, Bill?
What?
You know how hot it is in Virginia right now? Yesterday was 101.
We're hearing it's very hot in Indiana too, where we left.
How far? Yeah, did it get over 100?
I think it was in the 96 or something last day.
It's awful. We had beautiful weather last week, and all of a sudden it's just taken over, and it's going to be awful for this whole week. And it's awful. We almost September, Bill. Talk about global warming. There's something going on here. This is not normal weather to be so hot like this. 101 and Labor Day weekend, not normal in Virginia. For sure.
It's almost it's weird because we're here, and if a hurricane comes, we were.
Oh, that's awful. Yeah, hurricane.
We were shown how to secure the house because we're in somebody else's home. It's a gorgeous home. I mean, gigantic house right in the center of Boca, and so, but there's a big process to secure it for hurricane.
It is. I had one too. It's 2 different ways of doing it. And I'm very experienced with hurricanes. So you brought this up here. The nice ones is the panels that come up and down. You just roll them down. Like they're about. Those are nice ones. The tough ones are the steel ones where you got to put up manually.
Guess what?
And those are a workout. And I've had those too. And those are tiring.
That's what we have here. And then you got to do the turn things on each one. Yeah.
Oh, the butterfly ones. No, I'm telling you, that is a workout and a half. And try do it 2 stories. Then you got to climb the ladder, pushing them all the way up, and then doing by also. That's another workout too.
They're very sharp and dangerous.
Very sharp. You tear up your hands very easily. Wear the gloves too. The best also thing to have, and later, is to have the hurricane-proof windows. You don't have to do anything.
Let me tell you something. As a former burglar, that laminate, it's called it's by 3M and some other companies. They put a laminate on the windows. Trying to break in a house, if you're going to go through glass to try to get to a lock or something, you will be all day trying to get through that stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing watching the pictures, watching people try to hit it and break it. They can't do it.
No,
they can't do it. That's why that's the way to go with hurricanes. No more about doing all the shutter. Forget that. If I was to move back to Florida, that's what I'm putting on. Done. I don't have to worry about it.
It's a hurricane film that's called a laminate, and the most popular one is by 3M, and I think there's 3 different thicknesses of it.
Oh my God, yeah. I go for Cat 5. I don't want to worry about it. But you know what? Even though you do that so hard, the roof can still go, and it's still a big problem. So you need the roof also to have that special hurricane roof also. It's a lot of things to do.
Keep this in mind, everybody. What I've noticed after hurricanes and tornadoes from the news footage all over the world, especially in this country, you know what buildings survive almost every time, or parcel buildings that are round. If you look at the landscape and you see a concrete structure that was round, somehow the wind can't get a grip on that building.
Yeah.
Round buildings, you'll see them all over the landscape still standing.
Yeah,
it's just weird.
Yeah, and of course, all the hurricane shelters, their schools, they do very well also. Yeah, that's why everybody goes there. So you got to almost fortify your home. You got to make the lesson learned, fortify it. If not, you will learn, and it'll be awful. So interesting stories, Bill. You had an interesting weekend. Obviously, a lot of things to consider. You
I
have
do
a
want
thought?
to. I do want to add this. The theater where we had the premiere, the Wick Theater.
Wick?
Marilyn Wick's costume museum. She has Costume World. She had it all over the country. Now she has one store left because I guess the Amazon, had an impact on the business model. However, her theater is spectacular. Her venue, her restaurant, it's all self-contained in this wonderful building.
Nice.
And we're looking to put together some other events there, and I'm bringing other people to her. However, we know a lot of the same people in Boca, like historically, and so she's really become, a good friend since we're here. And I just want to give her a shout out. Everybody, if you're in Boca Raton, check out
Boca.
Federal Highway, the Wick.
Oh, you know what that translates to in Spanish?
She has the whole. When Joan Rivers died, she came into she bought at auction. I think it was $12 million. The entire Joan Rivers wardrobe collection. She has wardrobe. She has wardrobe from like every actor known, like every actor, every actress. She has the original stage stuff. Her warehouse is gargantuan. She has the original.
Well,
do you guys remember the Honeymooners? The Honeymooners TV show, the black and white.
Sure.
All the clothes that he wore there.
To the moon, right, Janice? To the moon.
That's right. That's right. You know who owns them? She does. She has
Jackie Gleason.
She has Jackie Gleason's wardrobes from the Honeymoon.
I love Jackie Gleason. Yeah, he's a big fan of it. Ed Norton also, right?
Yeah, she has the original Yul Brynner King and I costume.
Wow.
From the King and I.
King and I, yeah. I saw that on the shows. Interesting shows. Well, it sounds like an interesting person there. But I was saying, you know what Boca Raton is in Spanish? What does it mean? The rat's mouth. You're in the rat's mouth, Bill.
Isn't that weird?
You're in the rat's mouth. Boca Raton.
Isn't that weird? It sounds exotic.
The area looked like a rat's mouth.
Right, because that's what yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's pretty funny.
Lot of stuff in the news, Bill. We're going to do our current events section there. We've been doing a lot of shows. Folks, a lot more coming out. We have a few in the can, so a few more coming out, especially on Rumble. We're going to get those out on Rumble, Bill. They're going to do well. How about RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard endorsing Donald J. Trump, a Kennedy endorsing a lifelong Democrat, giving up on Biden-Harris failed administration and endorsing Trump, and Tulsi Gabbard. Both of them have been promised cabinet positions, by the way, and they're going to be part of his transition team to the White House. Perfect. Tulsi herself was a Democrat for many years. She's out of Hawaii, a congresswoman out of Hawaii, and she has also turned in the Democratic Party. She's had it. That's a big gain. And she's also, I think, American Samoan and from the South Pacific Islands herself, right?
Yep.
So she also can bring some from that area. So she's going to handle Harris very well. She has a very strong military background, which I like about her. She stands upright, and she's going to address her well. But that RFK Jr., it's a huge blow because now the swing states, and he's forcing them to say, listen, vote for Trump over Harris. Don't vote for me, and that way we'll put him over the top. That can be a big difference in Michigan and Pennsylvania, Bill. That could be at 6-7%. That's enormous.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I've talked about that. I had a guy, Chris Apollo, on there. He's a little over the top, and Roger Homefield, my buddy, he is so.
I did a show with Roger a few months ago.
I just interviewed him yesterday in his home, and I know he was on a panel with you, and he said he wasn't crazy about the panel either, but he is actually a very good-hearted, passionate guy who just he thinks like we did, but he comes across and like. I said, you have to tone it down because, you don't want to ever come across like kooky or anything like that, and he gets it. He laughs, and so I interviewed him again yesterday in his home yesterday. That's going to be coming out. And then another guy, Chris Apollo, was even more over the top. And then this guy wrote an open letter to Biden. It's full of the F word. I said, you can't say it on my show. He's I'll tone it down, and he's got some kind of medical thing where he can barely talk.
Okay.
So he was like, and he's like from Ocala, and these guys just are interesting. So I decided just to put them on for like a filler show. But, I'll tell you an interesting show that I did. And I want to see how you feel about this. You're in law enforcement, so if somebody's a crime victim, it doesn't matter their sexual preference or their leaning, whatever they say they were born this way and all that, and it's not a choice, okay. And if somebody's color of their skin, we all have a right to be free of crime, becoming a crime victim, right?
Oh yeah, nobody wants to be a victim. Yeah.
Right. So, and you're like the ultimate law enforcement guy I have on the show. Best I know, you were pretty much by the book. I don't think you really did much wrong. Louis, on the other hand, he admits that he kind of was a little heavy-handed with people, and did things that probably would have got him locked up today. But he's a good guy, and he tells great stories. And it's 20, 30 years ago. It is what it is. So
Sure.
everybody, at least he's honest about it. We love Louis, Mafia Monday co-host. I had the opportunity to interview. There was an incident in New York City in the '69 at the Stonewall Inn, which was a gay bar, like an underground gay bar.
What year is this? What year, Bill?
1969, June. It was the incident at the Stonewall. And the police had been raiding them. They were protected because they were under the Genovese family. It was owned by them. The Genovese mafia family was making money off this club. There was priests going there. There was celebrities. There was Rock Hudson going there under the name Roy.
Really?
Yes. So all these prominent people and off-duty cops, this, that. So it was a club where they could go be themselves, live their lifestyle. And it was very much illegal and frowned upon then. And by my Christian beliefs, obviously it's not acceptable. And I don't indulge in that, but I also don't believe in victimizing them.
No, you don't want to abuse people.
Exactly. So what happened was there's a museum now set up called the Stonewall Museum in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Okay. And so I had the opportunity. It was presented to me, hey, would you interview the director of this museum about what happened in this incident and the expansion of the museum to raise awareness that, you shouldn't be targeting people. And I said, I could do that as true crime.
Yeah. The term I think was called gay bashing, right?
Yeah, there's all kinds of terms. So we actually,
that's a nice one.
We went, we filmed the whole museum, we got the tour, and we spent 3 hours over there getting the tour and interviewing the guy, the founder and curator, the head guy. And that interview is going to go up soon. And bottom line, this guy was so articulate and knowledgeable about the history of, that struggle and the victimization of people because of their sexual preference. And then you have Democrats, and a lot of them are left-leaning, but there's a lot of, gay people that are actually Republican. And he went into that. He said, you don't understand. We don't like a lot of what's going on. Our community doesn't. But our whole point is to raise awareness that we were victimized. They had to bring in a different squad of police rather than the ones in that precinct because they were on the payroll from the Genovese family.
Oh, wow.
They never raided the place. If they were supposed to, they would tip them off beforehand. So the new mayor coming in, I forget who it was, ordered the public moral squad from outside of the area, from a different part of New York City, to do a raid. And when they went into the Stonewall, they were like, we're not having this. And somebody threw a bottle, and it turned into like a 2-day, 3-day riot, thousands of people fighting the police, people going to jail. It was a lot of people got hurt, on both sides.
And you're saying because they were pretty much gay? And that's why
their lifestyle and that
lifestyle.
One of the officers was a local guy. There was a local priest, very prominent, that was there. Wow. He walked him out. Another time, somebody had said, "Hey, that's Rock Hudson," and they said, "No, that's Roy. He just looks like him. He gets that all the time." So Rock Hudson was known to be involved in that lifestyle. He passed away of AIDS, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, he had AIDS. Those are the big cases of AIDS. Remember in the '80s?
Yeah. So I don't indulge in that, but they have a right to be free from being victimized.
Anybody, regardless. And we've seen it because people's religious preference, non-religious preference, their ethnicity, their race. It's just, I think that the motto is, Bill, live and let live.
Exactly. Like I say, what's his name? The guy got beaten up by the police, Rodney King.
Can't we all just get along?
After the riots, can't we all just get along?
But he was kind of shooken up when I remember watching that. He's dead now. He passed away a few years ago.
Yeah,
and his life was a mess, an absolute mess. Drug addiction destroys people and everything else. Can't we all just get along?
What else is new besides what you mentioned? I
thought RFK. An interesting story about RFK Jr. So continuation on him. People have been doing a little more. Of course, the left now is livid. His whole family is turned against him. Because they're hardcore Democrats. They said they are for Harris and Waltz. And I'm going to talk about Waltz also. And then something else came out about him, and he's a character within himself. Tim Waltz, the governor of Minnesota, awful. A lot of the lies he said because when he became a congressman, he lied about his DUI arrest. and that he really was drunk. It wasn't because he was speeding that he was said. No, he was intoxicated. Right. And look at his booking photo. And he tried to cover that up. He had a drinking issue. He had a drinking problem. And he has this pattern of want to embellish his background in the military and diminish his wrongdoings. And you have to call it for what it is. Call a spade for a spade. And yes, you were drunk. Yes, you admit what you did. Yes, you didn't protect your people from the riots from George Floyd, right? From the Floyd riots out there. You let Minneapolis burn after the National Guard. They should have sent him out. The chief of police, the mayor asking and begging for help coming out there. We've lost control of the city, right? It is burning down. We need help. And he let the city burn down. And a lot of the citizens are upset with that. And then, of course, he embellished that he was a war veteran. Well, guess what? He wasn't a war veteran, Bill. He was in Vincenza out there. Well, he wasn't in Afghanistan. He wasn't in action, combat veteran, but he claimed that he saw action. He never really did. I think those kind of problems, that ticket might be even worse, Bill, than the Biden-Harris. Harris-Walz could be the worst ticket. It just gets worse and worse. This could be the worst ticket in U.S. history. It just goes from bad to, and that's one of my columns. And by the way, folks, please read all my stuff. Follow me on Medium also. Medium, Medium. I know, Bill, you've got an article out there now. I've got over 56 articles and counting, from politics, true crime, my life, law enforcement. I'm doing one right now on the 40th anniversary of the horrible, horrible shooting at McDonald's, which was the worst mass shooting in U.S. history at the time in San Ysidro, what was based on Michael Douglas's movie Falling Down. 40 years, Bill, 27 in there. This guy snaps, goes in there with arsenal weapons and executes almost everyone in there in horrific style. People begging for their lives, babies putting bullets in their heads. Horrible, horrible things. All of them pretty much Mexican Americans in there executed. He was Anglo. They were all Mexicans. He appears anti-immigrant. He was just angry, upset, mental health, and the police stayed outside. And again, 40 years later, what does this remind you of? Uvalde, Texas, right? And I write about that. Have the police learned their lesson after 40 years what happened at McDonald's and the horrific mass shooting? Many times they have not.
Right.
Parkland, they did not. In Parkland, not too far from where you're at, in Parkland right there in Broward County, right there, the sheriff's office, particularly one, and his name is out there, the one deputy, the resource officer, stayed outside while the teachers and students are getting slaughtered. He stayed outside and he had a weapon. He could try to do something, distract the shooter, get his attention. You have to do something. Even if by yourself, you have to do something. In Uvalde, Texas, I think, took the cake. 77 minutes. They did nothing. They stayed outside while the kids were killed and the teachers were killed. Wow. That's unacceptable. You go in there, you have nothing. While the parents are trying to go in there, they brought shotguns. They know the classroom, what's happening, and they're being tased. They're being arrested. They're being taken down. Well, they want to save their children, and the police don't let them save their own children.
Yeah, that was horrible. 77 minutes.
Awful. Watch the video, folks. It's all out there. Watch the video. You can make your own judgment.
So I've been so incredibly busy here, one event after the other, networking and filming other things. I haven't stayed on top of the news as much as you have.
Okay, here's another news event.
What else happened with something?
How about Israel and the West Bank? Israel has a huge operation.
I have a specific question about Trump, though. Was there more charges brought against him, or something?
Oh yeah. He got reindicted. There's so much to talk about in the news. Nonstop. Smith, the special counsel out of D.C. about the riots of storming the whole thing of January 6th in 2021. Absolutely, and I think it's going to backfire because they see this as a political witch hunt. And every time they indict him on something or re-indict him, because the Supreme Court pretty much gave him immunity and gutted that case, so he just reshaped it again, put some more things, different charges, added different things in the language of the indictment, re-indicted him. I was reading the article about it. But guess what? They won't be able to have the trial until after the election. Okay?
But what about a sentencing in New York? How's that going to play?
I think they may wait until after the election.
I would think that the judges I was a law clerk in prison. We work with people now that are wrongfully convicted. So I know this. I'm not a lawyer, for the record. I'm not a lawyer, but I understand there's a provision in federal and state courts where a judge, upon his own motion, when he sees something completely inappropriate that one side or another is not bringing up, on his own motion can bring something up. So on his own motion, why can't the judges go after these prosecutors and put them in, refer them for discipline, refer them for criminal charges?
Yeah.
They can, upon their own motion, do that. They don't have to wait for the other side to do it.
Yeah. I think some of these judges are, like I said, activist judges, Bill.
Of course.
Remember that.
Prosecute them. They're interfering with the election.
Yeah.
They're doing what they lied about and said Trump was doing. Trump was never interfered with the election. They did.
So we'll see how. I think that it's a lot at stake for Trump. I think if he loses the election, Bill, he's going away. They're going to incarcerate him. They're going to unleash on him, and he's going to be a man in his 80s who's going to suffer a lot in those conditions. If he wins, I think he walks away from everything. So it's one of the high stakes for Trump at the highest level because he has so many cases. I think the one in Georgia goes away. Fannie Mae, Fannie Willis goes away with Nathan Wade, based on everything she did, the corruption, bringing her boyfriend in, lied about it under oath, unethical, using the trips from. He was getting paid over $600,000 a year for his work, and he was a divorce attorney, and he had no experience in racketeering cases. And it brought him because of his connection. I think that case is going to get gutted and done. I think at the end, those two go away for lying under oath, lying in their affidavit, and get disbarred. Rightfully so. They have no business in anything.
Nope. Listen, let me say this. So, there was an attempt on Trump's life a few weeks ago. Mar-a-Lago, we're right here. We're supposed to be
July
going
13th, I think.
In the next few days, we're supposed to be going to Mar-a-Lago to meet some people. I'm not going to say much more than that.
Oh, okay.
So, things are all in progress for that as well.
Good.
I did spot on the news with a greatly enhanced security. The local news here is exploding with anger from the residents because they're blocking off streets now around Mar-a-Lago.
Okay.
In the lead up to the election, and now they're trying to back off a little, saying okay, only when he's in town. Right when this is going on, like the day before they enhanced security, I was driving with Mary. And we went by Gun Club Road. You know where Gun Club is?
Sounds familiar.
That's where the Palm Beach County Jail is. So I did some footage because I spent 3 years in that jail and, for my shows and documentary about my life. So we did some footage. And I remembered Trump International Golf Course is next door, and I wanted to get some footage. And, it's right adjacent to the thing, to the jail. And it's surrounded by gargantuan royal palms, right? The gate is big as a house. Each side is like the size of a house. Black wrought iron, big gold, stuff on it. Trump this, Trump that, and a guard station. Of course, cameras everywhere. I pull up to the guard station, respectfully waiting for them. They're talking to each other, carrying on. They're on their phones, there's monitors everywhere. They're not paying attention who's at the gate. The gate's wide open. To the thing. Right after there was an attempt on his life, they shot him in the head, in his ear, right?
Ear, yeah.
You would think security would be astronomical because anybody can insert themselves onto that property and conceal themselves there, wait till he's back, and then be on the property.
When he's golfing and take out their, unfortunately.
So literally, I'm standing there with my window open, waiting for security to address us and say, hey, we're going to go to the clubhouse and take some footage and leave.
Keep on driving? Yeah.
No, you know what they did? They ignored us. So I just started driving into the compound.
In Mar-a-Lago?
It didn't go over well. No, at his golf course right here, right like a couple of miles from Mar-a-Lago.
And what happened?
Trump International Golf Course is right here, right next. It's like 5 miles from Mar-a-Lago. So all of a sudden, they finally realized that we just drove onto the property because we were completely ignored. The cameras will prove that we were there. I rolled my windows waiting for them. They're playing around on their phones, goofing off inside there, two of them. So we rolled on. All of a sudden, one of them was chasing me down the driveway, screaming in my rearview mirror. And I didn't go fast. I just crept slowly into the place, because I didn't want to get shot because I knew we weren't really cleared. And this guy comes up, he goes, hey, stop means stop. I said, check your video. We had stop. I was waiting for you, but I figured it was just fair game to come in because you guys didn't.
You wouldn't do anything. Yeah.
And I told him, I said, you realize they just tried to kill this man. You're letting any old person just drive onto the property? I said, I'm friends with one of Trump's attorneys. I'm coming here to do some footage. He goes, well, stop. He said, there's nobody here now, and you can't come on the property this time of night. I says, okay. And I didn't want to push it any further than that.
No, just leave.
But there's a couple of turnaround spots. He said, you turn around right there and leave. And I said, yes, sir. I said, but next time do your job.
Craziness, Bill. A lot of craziness. Interesting there.
The next day, they put all kinds of extra security around Mar-a-Lago. They just let strangers drive onto his property.
It's he even talked about that RFK Jr. I know that he says he's not running anymore and that he's endorsing Trump, but he came close himself. He had a close episode himself, just like his father. Only about a few miles away from the Ambassador Hotel, where his father was assassinated by Sirhan in the kitchen area, and he wasn't really supposed to go in the kitchen area, and he made the wrong turn, unfortunately, and Sirhan took advantage of that. I found some interesting things about RFK Jr. I know I wrote that book about RFK Jr. He's an eccentric guy. He really, really, he also had an incident that he admitted to. I don't know if you remember this a few years ago. This is years back, where they found that bear cub in Central Park. Do you remember that, when the bear cub was found and he was dead in Central Park? He admits that he put it there. I guess he said he had found it nearby, and he figured, why not hide it there? But that became a big stink and a big problem. He said, why would you do that? Why did you call, animal services to come out and handle it? Why would you just leave it there and bury it like that? It was a big deal. Now he laughs about it, but a lot of people say it took a lot of assets and resources that day, and a lot of money being spent that wasn't necessary. So, this guy talks about, accountability, but he's done some wacky things. I've told you, again, he was a heroin addict, recovered now. He had a really rough spell in his life also. He's a little eccentric. He loves training with birds like hawks and falcons. He does a lot of that. And he also had a really big bird. I can't remember if it was like, not like I can't remember right now, but it's very dangerous. And he had it as a pet in the house that would attack some of his visitors. And really weird, one of those big, I want to say mumu. It's really a very large bird. And then he had like a cat, like almost like a mountain cat, swimming in his pool and all that stuff. I mean, he can get really eccentric and really weird, some of the stuff he has. So a lot of people, that's why they think he's a little off sometimes, some stuff. But hey, he's endorsing Trump, and if he can get enough votes in there for Trump to win those swing states, that's what Trump needs. Like I said, everything is on. If he loses the election, Bill, it's bad news for him. They're gonna lock him up, and they're gonna throw away the key. I think because of all the different cases, he's convicted in the one in New York. That's the worst one for him. We'll see what happens.
Right. But what about there was some other big crime in the news too?
Yeah, Israel, of course, we're looking. Israel, I feel horrible. I mean, I can imagine living in Israel, and you're pretty much surrounded between the Gaza, and you have Hezbollah, you have the Iranians, the rebels in Syria, the issues in Yemen, and then you have the West Bank, and of course, had a major police operation the other day in the West Bank. I think killed like over 20 something and counting. I don't know. The numbers are awful. It's just you have people there that want to destroy you all around you. And I could not imagine living in that kind of environment all the time. It's a lockdown, police state. And then all the suicide bombers sometimes are going, just going shopping alone is nerve-wracking. You go in a bus, and it could be a female packed up, and they are suicide bombers too. That's a tough situation to be in Israel. But, of course, U.S. is there, is an ally. But I don't know how much support. Harris wants to win, right? And she needs Michigan. And the Palestinians, those who are pro-Hamas, pro-this, pro-that, they don't care about Israel, right? So they're making it clear, ceasefire, stop supporting, stop spending money. And so that's a big problem. But her husband, Imhoff, Doug Imhoff, he's Jewish American.
Right.
That's interesting dynamics there. But, of course, he had an affair with a nanny, and he impregnated her. So that says a lot about him too, right? I don't think he cares anyway. So
my buddy Roger Homefield,
first gentleman. He'll be the first gentleman. How about that?
Homefield said something that he said we're down 6 in the national poll. Is that accurate?
What's that?
Roger Homefield. If you guys want to follow him on, subscribe to him on YouTube. Yeah. Roger Homefield. He talks about politics and the jingles and the music and all that.
Oh, okay.
He just sent me a text a few minutes ago saying we're down 6 in the polls, talking about the Trump.
Again, folks, I don't believe the polls at all because Trump was down big time. The problem with the polls is, who are they polling? You have to poll people who, and I've studied this a lot, and I've done my own little homework on this, Bill. You have to poll people who are registered voters, because if you're polling people who are not registered voters, they're ghosts. They can't vote anyways, right? And not just people who are registered voters, but people who regularly vote. Because you're going to be a registered voter, never voted, that doesn't matter either. So who are they polling? And here's the other thing is, are they just polling a concentration of blue states? Or why do they go to the swing states and poll there? Because that's what matters. We already know where blue and red are going. Go there in the swing states. That's going to determine the electoral college and find out how that looks. That's the only thing I'm concerned about. I only look at 6 states right now.
Right.
And I think Arizona, Nevada, they're fed up what happened with Biden and Harris. She was the border czar, Bill, and she lies about it now. Oh, that's another thing I look for Harris. Everything she says is a lie. She denies everything that she was supposed to do that she did not do. He said, remember when she was interviewed by Holt from NBC? It says here, are you ever going to go to the border? Well, I haven't been to Europe either. What does that have to do with anything? You're the czar. You're supposed to be what are you doing?
These arrogant non-answers. I mean, listen, I have really good friends who are Democrats. I just do. And most of them are good, well-meaning people. But the ones that are trying to get in office are just completely out of whack with reality and truth. I mean, it's sad.
I look forward to the debate. I'm kind of glad they're going to mute the mics so we don't have to hear Trump in case he says something, he's going to slip up. Because he needs to be careful. And if he was to listen or watch or hear, my advice is don't talk about her race. Don't talk about her background there. People want to hear attack her policies, attack her failures.
Roger
don't talk about her background.
Roger Homefield put out a jingle because he was a famous musician at one time. He worked with Buddy Rich Band and all that and all these other bands. And it's 3 lines. It says policy, 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 policy. And he wants that to be the chant at the Trump rallies, policy, policy, policy. It's very catchy. And so
don't be hitting her because she's black. She's black. Her father's black Jamaican. Her mother came from India, right? She was spent a lot of time in the U.S., but she also spent a lot of time in Canada too. She went to high school up in Canada and everything. But she was she was aggressive as an attorney general, right, in California. But now changes her tune. She flip flops more than anyone I've seen. Like Joe Biden said when he came, not one more inch of the wall we built, and now he's flip-flopped completely about maybe we should complete it. Well,
and she's stolen a lot of Trump's ideas that she fought in the beginning.
She has been.
Now she's for no taxing tips, pretending it's her idea. Now she's for, there was a list of things on the internet yesterday.
How about Social Security? That was Trump's idea. Do not tax people federally for Social Security, which I have always said that's a good idea.
She has no position other than, elect me because of my race. That's it. She has no position.
She's cackling all the time through everything. She's awful. Her stories, she changed. This guy Waltz is just like her. They try to change who they were, who they are. Smoke. It's they are the ultimate smoke and mirrors. That's all they are. And she said, "Oh, this administration," like J.D. Vance said, "You are that administration. You were there for 3.5 years. You've done nothing. Don't say you're going to start things when you win. You're there now. What are you doing now as VP?"
They're literally there now and doing nothing.
She's there. She's been there.
Was smooth sailing at the border when Trump was in. A trickle of once in a while somebody getting through. Now,
in my opinion, Bill,
millions, and they turned right around and got on national TV and blamed Trump. I mean,
what needs to be done? What needs to be done to protect our country? Yes. Finish the wall, go after the tunnels, go check all the tunnels, destroy the underground tunnel. We have a huge network. You see Gaza? Bill, we got a network of tunnels underneath our country too. Those things have to be addressed. Overstays have to be addressed. You can't have sanctuary cities. You got to get rid of these if you're a resident here and you're a violent criminal, revoke and deport. Revoke and deport. You have to go aggressive.
Instead,
you got to get aggressive.
Instead, the Biden administration has given them, massive amnesty. Yet there's roving gangs going around targeting, doing high-end burglaries and hurting people, killing people.
The failure of these, and then these liberal leftist cities want more money for their failed policies to be dumped in New York City, Chicago, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Oakland, Homelessness is a big problem that has to be addressed. It's disgusting. I told you when we're here in Union Station out here in DC, it's disgusting. It's horrible. This mayor is awful. She's an ultra liberal, and do not touch people's gun rights. You should be able to defend and be armed properly, because the police are going to come out there. You need to protect yourself and your family, because the victims, the bad people, the criminals, the gangsters don't follow laws, and they're coming after you, and they don't care.
Right. All right. So we're gonna have to wrap this one up a little on the shorter side. If you have something else you want to get to, let's get.
Yeah, let me talk about our thing about Buc-ee's, of course. we always finish up with Buc-ee's. So far, no news is good news. Buc-ee's is stalling because they know they need a zoning waiver because they're too big to be up against a residential area. And the community has come together, especially where we live, and we made it known to the board of supervisors, to the commissioning of zoning, planning. No Buc-ee's, no mega gas station with 120 gas pumps, a Walmart size convenience store, almost 800 some parking spots. That is just going to create, especially off I-95, that is going to be a big problem off the Iron Highway. That is going to be a lot of drugs, a lot of guns, a lot of trafficking in human trafficking. That's a big problem too. Kidnappings. Then people are going to start trolling, and they're going to start checking the communities. And you better have good home defense, because they're going to have to start breaking in. And you can maybe talk a little about that, Bill.
Absolutely. Now, I do want to come across with perhaps you, Louis B., and Frank Lordy, because Frank Lordy is tied up with so many things, family, health, and his business he's trying to resolve. Wonderful guy, our co-host here.
Yeah.
And I want to do a panel with all of us on one day, all four of us.
That'd be great.
And we can make it a little crime prevention and politics right there. We'll stay off of some of these other extraneous topics, and we'll have a panel, and you guys just all bounce things off each other. And I think that would be good. Also, we can bring guests on with us. I know Louis is lining up additional retired detectives from New York City for me to put on.
Okay.
Another guy that's like, I think he's the head of the Department of Corrections in the state where he lives. He wants to come on. So we're looking to have some interesting guests. Louis is really active about trying to find more guests to come on with us. So if you know other people in former law enforcement or even on the other side who turn their life around that would like to come on, I'm more than happy to
we can do it. Yeah, I brought a few people. I remember we had Matt Cox with us, and I brought in I forgot what we did. Someone else for another show. We had 3 people on. I always think of different ideas, people that come in there too, and different concepts and everything else. And I also did a show recently. Should be coming out shortly. With Mike Dowd and Nick Gerasi. They're from Good Cop, Bad Cop. Shout out to them. Podcast should be interesting, and check it out. It's an interesting show. I saw it on Netflix. The Precinct 75 precinct right there. He was considered the dirtiest cop in NYPD history. Dirtiest cop in NYPD history, and he's doing a lot of different projects right now.
He got back to me about a show. We never formally connected because I had these 3 back-to-back events in a row, and I just finally slowed down now. This weekend, I'm a little more free, so I'm hoping to lock down a ton of interviews this weekend to get them in the can. There's at least one of ours that hasn't gone up yet still. And for my audience and to you, I apologize. I have been swamped, and I see when these things get to a certain level and you're busy with so many guests and things, you start to get to the point where hey, I need help doing this. Or I'm looking at some AI programs. There's one of them that I could put the show up one place and it distributes it everywhere simultaneously.
Well, yeah, that'll be nice. Maybe Rumble can help you also with Rumble, and then you it goes right to YouTube at least. Get those 2, and then eventually go to Spotify.
I used to work the other way around. You put the show up on YouTube, it automatically
Rumble to YouTube, and then maybe you can link it to Spotify. It's good to get them out because we get some really. Hey, that first show we ever did, Bill, almost 2 years ago, has over 10,000 views.
Wow,
that's pretty good.
Here's Louis for you guys who don't know. He's a real stand-up guy, former mafia detective from New York City. This guy went out of his way to fly from his home state to support me, go to the Silent Partners premiere. He did some networking there at the Wick Theater, Boca Raton. Again, shout out to Marilyn Wick. Beautiful venue, beautiful, beautiful venue. She has the world's largest costumes. Every famous costume you've ever seen on Broadway, this lady either owns it or has it on display or a replica. She also makes these costumes available for not just theater productions, but now movies.
That's pretty cool.
Are reaching out to her. You can reach out to me too. I'll hook you up with her. and she has stuff gangster stuff, 20s era, 50s, 1800s, whatever era you want. She's got thousands of things in wardrobe.
Costume to look into. That's pretty neat. That's very neat.
Outfit your whole show with this. When you have your cast, and they need.
Excellent. Let me get some quick promos in here. If you can, find me on Amazon. You can see my books, close to 80 books, close to 60 articles on Medium. It's a pretty cool bill. I know you're a member now. Yep. Lots to read. You're going to have millions and millions of articles from everything you want. Over 100 million users. It's the biggest online publishing platform in the world. And I'm taking advantage of that. It's awesome. It's awesome.
I'm on there now, and I recommend it to other people. And I have people that I'm working with to try to promote with them, because now I'm doing public relations. I'm under the umbrella of Steele Media, which is Steele the Spotlight PR. So we're looking to formalize this finally, and that's another thing that's happening. So stay tuned for more of Steele the Spotlight public relations as well.
Sounds good, Bill. Yeah. Sounds good. And please also subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm getting I have over like 40 some videos there too. I'm just all over. You can follow me on Facebook too. Everything I put in, I also put on Facebook, LinkedIn. You see me on LinkedIn a lot too, Bill. We're all over. Check us out. Let's keep on. We're networking immensely, and our backgrounds are diverse. Our stories are interesting, and please keep on following us.
You got it. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Again, check us out on Medium. Incredible articles. I put my first one up. It's doing pretty well. I'm going to put one recapping the last few days on there. Phenomenal. And thank you, everybody who showed up for me. Nick Christopher, William Crooks, Jennifer, just so many people. Oh, I'm also looking to sponsor, go on sponsorship with actually a vodka brand. I don't drink, but there's a reason for this. And, as a Christian, people can drink. You just shouldn't get drunk and do illegal things, right?
Right.
I think this is a really good fit, and I was given an opportunity by the largest female vodka distiller in the world. I met her. She is a huge fan of my show. She says, let's work together. And so we're getting ready to team up and start promoting this.
Excellent.
Yep. All right. Everybody, thank you again for joining. Ignacio, good seeing you again.
Thank you, man.